Alright, so I reviewed that video and I noticed that I couldn't focus on cleaning my room and talking at the same time and really saying what I wanted to say. So I wanted to continue it while sitting down. I'll still be doing something, but I'll be sitting down. And this video is going to be more sexual heavy and more detailed. And this is my experience, not anyone else's. I'm not speaking for anyone else. This is just what I know. But I'm going to be doing my nails while I'm doing this video. Because when you climb, you have to keep your nails clipped. But also, I'm a lesbian, so you know. Even though I'm not dating anyone at the current moment, you never know who you might run into in life. But also I noticed that like my nails sometimes don't match my outfits for a specific color. So it's like, oh, I gotta do a different nail color every day or something like that. That's why mostly I just wear pink, because then will do the, like on my nails, because most of my outfits are pink, so the pink nails, I just mostly do my nails pink because then they will match. But I don't really like that sometimes. So I'm just gonna be putting sparkles. Sparkles match everything. But yeah, so I wanted to mention something. And I have brain damage. And if you've watched my videos, you know that. I think I've mentioned it a couple times. So I wrote a couple things I wanted to say on this little piece of paper that I got in the mail. But like it's a letter I got in the mail, but I wrote down some things on it that I wanted to say. So I wouldn't forget. But I just wanted to say that I noticed that my videos have always had kind of like a weird repetition style where I say things more than once and repeat myself. And that's because YouTube is very hard when you're making a video. It's not that YouTube is hard, it's just that thinking about what you want to say and not breaking the guidelines of YouTube is very hard. And, so you want to make sure you're not upsetting anyone or upsetting the guidelines. But, so I always noticed I kind of had to watch myself. But in this video, I'm going to stop worrying about pleasing people and following, like I'll still follow guidelines, but not I'm not gonna try to say it as if I'm censoring or filtering myself. This is going to be 100% raw. And maybe you'll notice the difference in me. In my voice level, in my body reaction, you'll notice that I'm being 100% truthful. And I'm not going to try to think about how I want to say things. I'm going to say things the way I believe it. And if you have a question, you feel free to answer. But I'm not going to say it as if you have a question. I'm just going to say it as if I am me. So, what I want to say is, I was never sexually attracted to dick. I always knew this. And honestly, my family knew this too. I never liked cum, from the dick. It just looks like snot, like clear snot, to be honest. And mucus. And yeah. I know that some women's cum can look like that, but mostly it's clear, So, and that's different because that's coming from a vagina, not a dick. So it is attractive. To me, it's just frosting at that point. But anytime I had sex with a man, or gave him oral, or gave him a hand job, it was for him. As an adult. Remember, we're not counting my teenage years. I already explained in the other video why. It was it was, yeah, it was for him. Um, when, sorry, that was like, I could barely breathe, for a moment. That's why it was like, it was. Sometimes this stuff smells, you know how nails go. Um, and it's always nice to please someone and make them happy, especially when you think you love them. um, but it was never for me. I never got off on it. I never was turned on sexually when I would do that for men. It's kind of fun knowing you have a sexual skill because then it makes you an interesting person, like or you think it makes you an interesting person. But so like you think you like doing it. Like me, I this might be TMI, but I can deep throat really well. I don't have a gag reflex. And I would enjoy doing that because I was like, ooh, this is like a rare skill, which I realize is not a rare skill. Um, but guys' eyes always lighted when I told them that. And I'd be like, oh, so this is something I can do to make a man happy. Um, this is something unique because sometimes sex can get boring. And, uh, and you want it to be unique. You want to be a fun, spontaneous person, kinky even. And I would enjoy I enjoy making people happy in my life, And in that moment, I'd be like, okay, yeah, this is nice. I get to deep throat this guy's dick. Oh my god, it's so gross thinking about it. And uh, and make him happy. But it never got me in the mood after. Like it was just for them, you know? And I don't think I ever convinced myself that I liked it. It always had to be interesting for me to like it. Like, I'd always have to like be asked to be slapped in the face or something. But then I realized I just like the pain because I was punishing myself with pain. Because I felt guilty about so many things in my life, and I was punishing myself sexually. Um, so I thought I liked deep throating because it was a cool skill, and because I like the pain that goes with it, choking. But I haven't liked choking ever since I was almost choked to death. Um, so I noticed that attraction feeling is different with women. And I never had to. I never thought, oh, I'm doing this just for her. I thought, I'm doing this for her and me. Um, there was a time where I did have oral with a woman, and I didn't know if I liked it or not, and I had sex with her, um, because I was drunk. I didn't have sex with her because I was drunk. I didn't know if I liked it because I was drunk, so I couldn't put an official ruling there. But I knew I liked it. And I've had sex with men while drunk and didn't like it. So there's some telltale differences between that as well. Fucking. Okay. And I always noticed that if I had sex with a man, I'd fantasize that there was another woman there all the time. And I notice with men, I would try to, if I was with them in a relationship for a long time, I would, or even not a relationship, I would try my hardest to get out of that situation. I would like make excuses. Recently being semi-physical with a woman, the reason I say semi-physical is I mean like just second base stuff. I didn't try to get out of that. I always tried to sabotage my relationship with men and let them know that I was not having fun sexually. But with women, it was the complete opposite. And I would let them know that I want more. And I wouldn't try to sabotage it. I would hope that nothing went wrong and that I could continue doing stuff with women. But with men, I would always hope that like they just wanted to stop early, came fast enough, started hurting, got a cramp in their foot, anything that could stop. And I was talking to my sister one time about this. And she was like, "Damn, it must be traumatizing knowing that you forced yourself to like sex with men all this time and you really didn't." I didn't really think about it until she said it. I was like, yeah, it actually is kind of traumatizing. And it made me feel like a piece of shit because I was so desperate to love and find love that I was willing to sacrifice my own happiness just so the other person could be happy. That's not how love should be. It should not be one-sided, ever. So yeah, I had always noticed that the physical pleasure was just not there. I would always sacrifice my pleasure for the men. Even if a man like came on my stomach, I would almost throw up. There was this one time I had a guy come on my stomach and I started gagging. And I was like, I just can't look at it, it looks so gross. And I started gagging and almost threw up. And he had to grab a rag and wipe it off as fast as he could. I always noticed when I saw pictures of dick, I never got super satisfied. But I was like, hey, it's not bad. So I thought, hey, that's good enough. But it never spoke to my heart. When I saw pictures of vagina, I wanted more. So, like, when I saw pictures of dick, I never asked for more. I was like, oh, but, like, there were times where the men would ask for more. They'd be like, oh, do you want a cum shot? Do you want me, like, stroking myself? And I'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever you want. With women, I'd ask for more. I'd want more for myself, if I'm, like, looking at porn or something. And I was intrigued and didn't try to put the phone away. My eyes were glued to the phone for a certain amount of time, because you can't look at porn forever. But I remember one time when I was like a teenager, my sister found a magazine. My mom was dating someone, and this person, who identified as a man back then, had female porn magazine. One time I found it on my own. And every time my mom would go to bed at night, I would go there and into the bathroom and look at the magazine and look at the pictures of the naked women, especially their genitalia. I was a teenager, and I was always afraid of getting caught. And then one time my sister found the magazine on accident because she was searching for something. Because this magazine was really not well hidden. It was like in a drawer in the bathroom. She brings the magazine to me. And she goes, "Can you read this to me?" The front of the magazine wasn't bad. And I was like, "Oh, okay, sure." So I opened the book and I was like, "Oh wait, this is the..." Because this was a new one. Because there were like maybe 3 to 4 different magazines, and I would only just look at one. Because I was too afraid to even pick up the magazine and make noise and wake up my mom. I would just flip the paper. Hi, Mom, if you're watching this. My sister brings me the magazine, and I notice it's another porn magazine. And I showed my mom. And I was like, "Hey, my sister found this, and she wanted me to read it to her, but I don't know if it's appropriate." So she's like, "Yeah, this is my partner's magazine, so shouldn't be reading this." But she never got mad. But I tried to find that magazine later that night, and of course it was moved to a different location. I noticed that if I ever... honestly, I never found a magazine of like naked women. But I noticed that, so my mom gave me a book one time. You're going through puberty. She gave me a puberty book. I noticed that I looked at the women body more than the man. Like I was curious as a teenager, and I still looked at the male genitalia, and I looked at the penis and the anatomy of it. But I spent more time looking at the female genitalia. Because it excited me. And the more that I think about it, the more I just realize that I have spent most of my time, when sexually interested, by myself, looking at anything involving women. There's a couple times that I would search up just regular porn, straight porn, gay porn, whatever. I'm just curious. I was just curious. It's just fun to see like the style and the shitty acting in those videos. But ever since I took the blinders off, I realized how much I didn't like it. It's like, I don't know if this has happened to some people, this has happened to me, but like if you had something traumatic happen when you were young, like 1, 2, or 3, usually around that age, you don't remember it happens to you until you're old enough to handle it. So until I was in a good place and happy, that's when I realized I didn't like getting those pictures of those dick, or realized that it traumatized me to have sex with men and not have sex with them. That was just gross to me, but it traumatized me to realize that I forced myself to like it. And the blinders came off. Ever since they came off, I have been very revolted by Dick, and I realized I've always wanted to be revolted. I've always wanted to go, ew, gross, disgusting. But I never thought I had a valid reason. Now I have a valid reason, or just a valid thing in life, but I realize how much more grossed out I am by it. And naturally my face kind of just goes like like a grossed out face. I can't fake a grossed out face. Show me a picture of a dick. That'll be the real grossed out face. Right now I can't do one on command on my phone. I can do one if I see a picture of a dick. That's real. And it makes me happy because I'm not hiding the disgust anymore. Because I thought there was something wrong with me if I didn't like Dick, But now that I realize the reason I don't like it, I'm more happy to be disgusted by it. And I was actually watching porn the other day, just because I am an adult, and I saw this gay couple, man, and I was like, I wonder what would happen if I click this. Like, how would I feel, I clicked it, and I got so grossed out I couldn't even watch, 20 seconds. I was done. Maybe not even 8 seconds, I wasn't timing myself, but I was so grossed out. I was like, okay, this is actually grossing me out. I don't want to watch this. So I stopped watching that video. So that's kind of like my experience with men. And I'm really sorry if you dated me and we were intimate and I said I liked it. In a way, I thought I did. I was in a trance. I put myself in a trance for you. And hopefully you have found someone who is into your body 100%. Because I was not. Even if I did ask for it, part of the reasons I would ask for it is because I think, intimacy is important in a relationship. But also I would try so hard to force myself to like it. I'd be like, okay, maybe it wasn't just good. It wasn't good that time. Maybe the next time it'll be great. It was never great. It's like a science experiment, How many trials do you have to do to get the proper data and then come to a conclusion? I did a lot of trial and error. I just wanted to make sure for sure, and there wasn't anything else, that I wanted to maybe confirm for myself that I thought that my brain was fucked up. And I wanted a reason. That's why I did and I wanted some justification, and I wanted to understand why I didn't like these things. And so my first conclusion that wasn't true was that I had brain damage, and I'm never gonna just understand this stuff. Now I know that's not true. But it's hard when you don't understand something and you don't have a reason. I wanted to know. It's confusing. It's hard. It sucks to be confused all your life and realize that you just didn't like a specific thing. And when you realize that and you're not confused anymore, oh my gosh, your brain just feels so free. But it sucks to be confused. Thank gosh I'm not confused anymore. Because I don't know how much longer I could have done that. That was hell. That was 27 years of pure hell. And blaming myself and thinking there's something wrong with me, but realizing there's nothing wrong with me at all. That I am perfectly normal. Or as normal as could be. You know, because nobody's ever normal or perfect. Everyone's got their own little quirk. I wanted to say about it with that is if people, more on the social side, if people assume this shit about you, that you liked it or whatever, then they've probably never really had, this is just my experience, then they've probably never really had a conversation with you and sat down with you. Just like that person over the YouTube comment, but I don't know if they knew the YouTuber personally, you know. However, I noticed that if I didn't know someone, and I was curious about something, I would always assume, oh, why is this? Why is that? You know, because I was uneducated and didn't have a lot of knowledge in that area. I always notice that if you don't know someone, they're going to ask you questions. If you don't know someone, then a lot of times when you tell someone something deep and personal and intimate and personal, this is why you have to be really careful who you tell people things. If they don't really know you, they're going to ask you questions as if they've known you your whole life. Yeah, and they're going to start assuming. Some people, not everyone. Some people do ask questions and are respectful. But me, I've noticed that when I have conversations with my family, that, yes, it has taken me 26 minutes to get this nail polish off. I should have gotten better nail polish. And there's still more, or better nail polish, remember, I should have gotten. But with my family, I've noticed that my family has actually agreed with me when I told them I never liked dick. And I was so afraid to talk to my family about it and thought they would doubt me because I would have conversations with them and fun little talks. You know, you have your talk with your siblings, you have your talk with your cousins, you know, about your personal life. And I didn't realize I was lying, but I would lie when I say, oh yeah, I had fun, we hooked up or whatever, you know, me and this person, you know, we hooked up, stuff like that. I had a conversation with my cousin recently in person, and she just kind of like knew. Like I told her, I think I'm like trying to find out something, like I'm just like trying so hard to be on this journey in life and figure myself out. And she told me she thinks, she knew that, she's like, I think you're going to find yourself, Whisper. And I think it's going to have a lot to do with women. So my cousin, even though I told her most of my teenagehood and adulthood that I enjoyed sex with people and stuff, because she knew who I was, she knew in my heart I was lying. She knew that I had doubt in my words because she knew if I spoke the truth, I'd have a different tone. If I didn't speak the truth, I wouldn't have a different. I would have a different tone, obviously. She knew the difference between the tones. My sister even knew that I didn't like it, and I was afraid that my family would doubt me and be like, oh no, you know, I thought you did like it, you know, or be nice about it, you know, be like, oh, I thought you did like it. Oh, but it's nice to know you don't. That never happened. My family always knew I didn't like it. Even my sister, I had a conversation with her. She was like, you know, Whisper, you never really talked about sex as if you enjoyed it. You kind of just talked about it like, she didn't say this word for word, but it was kind of like I was vague and bold about it. I never like talked about it as if I enjoyed it. Because my family has felt real love and been in relationships where they felt real love. So they knew that when I talked about something, it's not the way they would talk about something, and they knew I was full of crap. I just didn't know I was full of crap. So I would even talk to so I was like, am I going to finish that thought? Like, no. Sometimes I just say so. So I would talk to my mom. And I told her, I wonder if I'm a lesbian. This is before I realized, obviously. And I was like, but I've dated men. And, you know, and my mom was like, yeah, but you always dated, like, feminine men. And I had a whole nother realization. And I told my mom, I was like, yeah, that's true. Like, and like, it's just always never been, like, farther than, like, a long relationship. I've never been in a super long relationship. I just never really enjoyed the physical. And my mom was like, yeah, you're always kind of, when we would talk about, have, like, just those chats on the couch or have our deep night talks, that physical touch was kind of weird for you with men. I'm gonna cry. So I didn't think about that till I had this realization again. Not this realization again. I didn't think about it until I had this realization, and then again I would think back to that conversation with a new point of view, and I would realize that my family probably realized I was a lesbian before I did. But also my family is so supportive and didn't doubt me when I told them I don't like dick. And knew that I wasn't telling them the truth when I told them I did like it. My family knew. They never assumed. And I appreciate that so fucking much. Because they're all that matters. My friends, family, the people that are close to me. They're the ones that make me happy every day. And the fact that they knew this about me just shows that they do listen to me. I would always doubt that they would. See, I had doubt. I always doubted everything in my life before this revelation. Never knew if my family was listening to me or understood me. Ever since realizing that I am a lesbian, I've had no doubt. And I see that my family and friends care about me as a fucking person and care about my soul and heart and what happens with me in life and my happiness. They care about my happiness. I want to say about the revelation, when you, from my experience, when you have this revelation, you have to, like, kind of, like, you ask yourself questions, it's not that you necessarily doubt, but you're just curious. You ask yourself questions. You're trying to figure out the way you think about things. I have asked myself about physical attraction to women. I have asked myself about physical attraction to men. I've already asked, how do I know I feel this way? I've already been through the revelations myself. I've already asked myself all the questions. So I already have confirmation. It's not like I just found out in 1 second. Like, I've had this conversation with myself every night. So I've already gone through the process of finding out why I know I like things and act a certain way and realize that I am a lesbian. And I shouldn't have to explain that unless I want to. Because then it's the public that gives me doubt. Because it's like, oh, I already asked myself this question, but now someone's asking me this question, but they're not asking me. They're trying to tell me. There's a difference when, in a style of question, if you've ever noticed, there's a difference when someone asks you something, but they're saying it like they're telling you how you should feel. That's how I feel a lot of the time with judgment. So, that's why I didn't really want to make this video, because I feel like maybe there could be people that could watch it and be like, oh, you haven't, thought, or you haven't reflected, like, you're just telling us. And it just makes me feel doubt. But not in myself, just in this world in general. But that's also why I was doing so many things for people in life, for everyone. Finally, the nail polish is off. For other people, lived most of my life that way. And the moment I got to my dream school and started doing things for myself, I had less doubt, especially after this revelation. I know I keep saying revelation, I just don't know another word for it. Awakening, realization, whatever. After I realized I've been more happy living for myself instead of other people. And maybe the reason it took so fucking long to realize is because I wasn't doing shit for myself mostly in my life before this. I was doing it for other people. I was living for other people, trying to please men, not figuring shit out for myself. So when you're not true to yourself and you're living for other people, even if you don't know it, so much can be blinding. That's why you have to follow the path you want. I understand there's factors that could get in the way, but you can always overcome those factors sometimes, depending on the situation. But the whole point is, live for yourself. Don't live for anyone else. Don't try to please them. And if someone asks you a question, don't make sure it's a question and they're not telling you, Feel like, don't let anyone doubt yourself. It took me so fucking long to realize this shit. Because I wasn't living for myself. Is there anything else on this piece of paper that I want to talk about it? You could probably tell just in the last 15 minutes of the video, or the last 5 minutes, that the talking changed, because I'm trying to convince you guys, or not trying to convince you guys, but trying to find the perfect words for you guys. I was like, oh, I'm talking about, but you notice when I was just talking about myself, I was just enjoying doing my nails, and yeah, you see the difference? Anxiety can come from so much people in life, and worrying about what other people think and worrying about pleasing other people. It's just bullshit. So, the moral of the story is, live for yourself, no one else. And if other people don't believe you, they're just assuming shit and they don't know you. But if you surround yourself with people who care about and love you, you'll realize that they do know you and they do support you and they do love you. And they will never doubt you and never make you feel like you have to doubt yourself. Alright, thank you so much for taking your time out of watching this 40-minute video. I got to clipping finally getting all the nail polish off, and clipping my nails and possibly filing almost all of them. That took a long time, but also I was talking to you guys and I was just enjoying. But yeah, I Once I started living for myself, the blinders came off. And I knew who I truly was as a person. I knew that there was something about me. I just couldn't put my fingers on it. My tongue. Couldn't put my tongue on it. Couldn't figure it out. Part of the reason I couldn't figure it out is because I was so worried about pleasing other people. Live for yourself, people. Do not live for other people. Live for yourself. Alright. Thank you so much for taking your time out of watching this 40-minute video. Please like, subscribe, and comment the video down below. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much. Love y'all. Bye. But you see how there was a difference. Even I noticed there was a difference in my speech towards the end of the video. Because I got anxious. Because it's like, fuck, what do I say now? How do I be so perfect, you know? Don't worry about being perfect. You don't have to be perfect. Just be you. And always live for you. Be yourself.